All right, here's an overview of Radiologik Scheduler and the basic philosophy around Radiologik as a full-time automated station, or even part-time automated station, because you can run a 24/7 station, or you can run from any exact second to any other exact second as you like. Yes, it's that accurate. So I just launched Radiologik Scheduler, and amazingly enough, I, as the developer, have it unregistered, so you can see what that looks like and the choices you get when you launch it. So Basic is free; it's included with DJ, and it has some basics to it, but boy, they go quite a distance actually. And those basics are picking single tracks from playlists, filling with multiple tracks from playlists, or loading a program, a pre-made program you've made in DJ and saved as a program file. Now, Advanced adds in a bunch of other things like time announcements, picking files by date. In case you have dated files, it will actually find them that way. Adding intros and outros and combos. We'll get into what all that's about at some point, but let's just say it's voice work. That automatically selects things for an artist or a song. Up Next, which tells you what the next day part is. And Spot, which is all about individually scheduling ads and traffic. So all of those are advanced. I think right now I'm going to leave on advanced so I can show most everything about this and what it's able to do. So I do have one program here. And this program, I'm rerunning this program all day long from 12 a.m. to 11 p.m. Actually, the 11 p.m. hour covers all the way up to 12 a.m. again. So there's your 24, and your 7's over here in the days. I have all the days selected. I could say no days, or I can add my weekdays and weekends. You can choose how large you want your program segments to be, anywhere from 30 minutes to 8 hours. I'm working with 60-minute blocks. It's just easier to understand. I can name my program. I can give it different colors. The colors are relevant, especially when looking at the week view. If I want to choose that color, I look at the week view. It's changed its color there, so you can tell your day parts apart rather easily. You can set certain programs to only play at certain times, have a start date and time and a stop date and time. So this program would continue scheduling if you wanted to pick over a particular holiday. You want special programming for that time, you can give it start times and stop dates and times that would be specific for that. So you can play them pretty far in the future that way. Down here we have artist, composer, and separation, and album separation. This is useful for making sure on, let's say, compilation CDs or albums that we make sure to put some separation and only choose once in a while from particular compilation tracks or compilation albums. And same title, different artist separation. This would be if you have the same song name but it's by a different artist. You can separate those many times with, let's say Christmas music or American standards. You have many different artists doing some of the same songs, and it would be just kind of weird to hear the same song done twice in a row. It doesn't sound very intelligent to do things that way, so that's what that's for. And the rest I can get into it another time, but I just wanted to show you those are some of the basics there. And each program has a script. I've got a fairly complex script setup here that I think demonstrates quite a bit, and we'll get into all the details of scripting at some point. I want to go over the philosophy a little bit of how Scheduler works, though, too, right here at the beginning. So for every time that this is going to schedule, let's see, we're at 9 p.m. now. The next block that would be scheduled would be 10 p.m. Up here we can see what last scheduled. If we hit this little triangle, we'll see the next to be scheduled is program. It's the 10 p.m. block. It will be scheduled at 9:40. Now, 9:40 is just a pretty safe time to go in and schedule the next hour. So as you can tell here, Radiologik Scheduler is scheduling hour by hour or 8 hour by 8 hour or half hour by half hour or whatever you like. You can set it to schedule, maybe a little bit further ahead. You could go, 12 hours ahead or something like that, figure out what the minutes are for that. I think maybe 720, and pop that in there, and it would schedule that far ahead of time. But generally, we're scheduling things a little bit ahead of when they actually need to play. So let me describe kind of what's going on with that. In order to achieve some amount of rotation, we're taking advantage of iTunes, that iTunes can tell us when things have actually played. So over here, I have some playlists. A group with many playlists actually show all of the playlists in the group. So I'm taking advantage of that. I have many of my tracks in different years here in case I want to change my rules about how different years are selected. But I have this Modern 600 here. And then, so this has the 597 songs I have in stock for this day part. But what I did is I created a rotation playlist. It's a smart playlist. If I were to create it, I would create it, well, that's editing them. That would be creating a new smart playlist there. And I'll edit this one just to take a look at what its rules are. So the rules for this rotation are pick from the playlist, Modern 600, and only show me the 150 items that were least recently played. In other words, out of the 600, it's showing us about 25% of the library that hasn't played recently. And this is the major way we accomplish rotation. This is very important. Now, Scheduler can do a lot of other figuring about things in the near term and even farther out term than iTunes will accomplish. But our major rotation is happening here. If you want rotation, you don't want to hear the same tracks every hour, you do need to set up a smart playlist that only shows least recently played. So this gives us another clue about what's going on here. DJ must be telling iTunes what played. Yes, it does. And the way that happens, if we go in the preferences here, if we have log on for the output we're using that track plays on, and we have on registered played tracks with iTunes when logging the player output, it will mark the tracks played in iTunes, and these smart playlists that show rotation will take effect. And so that's how things go. So we program hour by hour. When Scheduler runs, it takes a look at what's in DJ's queue, and then it applies these other rules about artist separation. DJ keeps a list of up to 50 tracks, so it knows how to apply the artist separation. Actually, there's composer separation in there as well. It will actually read the composer tags. It's very sophisticated with that, with how it's done it. There's been a lot of evolution in how all this has come about. And it'll apply all these rules to things. Down here, we'll get into preference sets at some point, but you can change your preference set in DJ when this next schedule comes along. You can have different DJ voices for your voice work. It will pick from a different folder. Let's say if you want a female during the day and a male during the night, or vice versa, you could pick different DJ voices and put all your voice work in these in folders, which we'll show later on. And you can send your tracks to DJ, or you could send them to a file, or both. The reason you would send to both would be if you want to play the exact same set of tracks, do a repeat at some other point in the day. So there's plenty of other stuff here, but let's head over to the script real fast and we can see some of what that does. I'm going to just do an overview of how the script works. Okay, when we actually start doing tutorial videos on scripts, I will make it really, really simple to start with. But I want to show you what a not a severely complex schedule looks like, but a fairly sophisticated one looks like. So the first script line, line 1, is a fill command. And fill and pick commands are essentially the same thing. What they do is they pick from an iTunes playlist. The pick command will only ever pick one track. The fill command will pick multiple tracks, but only if you give it extra guidance as to how much you want to fill. If you give it no guidance as to how much you want to fill, which is which time you want to fill to, it will only pick one track. So in this case, I've picked to fill to the top of the hour. So this will calculate to the top of the hour. The reason TOTH top of the hour is special is because as it looks for tracks to fit the top of the hour, it will actually err on either side of the hour instead of going, well, only this and above, like a minimum would do. So it's not truly a minimum. If the closest it can get is 5 seconds before or 5 seconds ahead, it's going to get as close to the top of the hour as possible, erroring on either side of the hour. So it's kind of a special command. The attributes I have on here are also kind of special. When it picks from this playlist, it's going to pick from the playlist randomly. Remember, this playlist is only showing us the 150 least recently played tracks. It's going to make sure they're unique, meaning that which it is scheduling, if it ever uses this playlist again or ever has the ability to select this track again, it makes sure that the track is unique as best as it can. And it also checks DJ's queue, what's actually in queue, and make sure it's not duplicating that as well. The A attribute uses all the separations. So those separations we set up for the artist, composer, album, title separation, and all of that are applied to this particular playlist. Sometimes you may not want that to happen, say for station imaging where all your artists might actually be the same. And then hour avoidance. Hour avoidance is kind of neat. This actually goes through the logs for the full week, and it tries to avoid playing tracks in the same hour from any other day of the week. This kind of helps ensure that, let's say, if a track played at 3 o'clock on Monday, it's not allowed to play again at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for the rest of the week until we get around to, I think, about another Monday away or Tuesday away. So it's a nice long-range type of rotation tool. That's why I said some tools for separation are very local to what's playing and what's about to play. iTunes takes care of the medium to long range, and then you have an extra long range here with the hour avoidance. So my next command here is a time command, and this simply inserts a stub, which will actually be a time announcement. No matter what, when it goes to play, it's going to play the correct time. My next command here is a pick, and this is just some station imaging promos that I have. It's a playlist in iTunes, and I'm basically just saying pick it randomly. It also happens to be a iTunes smart playlist that only shows the least recently played of those, so we get some forced rotation of that. And unique, yeah, if we can accomplish unique and not repeat 2 in a row, U equals unique will help do that as well. Then we fill to a range here. So we're basically saying we're giving it some guidance in this, we'll call it script clock. We want to get to, maybe we can't get to an exact minute, and maybe we don't need to get to an exact minute, but we want to get within a range or so. That way it gives a pretty good variety of what it's allowed to choose to get to between 12 minutes into the hour and 15 minutes into the hour. So that's what these times mean, by the way. No matter what time you start one of these, so this program, 10 or 11 or 9, these times are calculated from the beginning of that program start time. So what makes it interesting is if you happen to set this up where it ends up being 9:30, which you can do here, and I just made myself some conflicts there. This because this is 9:30, when it goes to schedule this at about 9:10, 20 minutes before that, the 12 here will actually be 9:42 to 9:45. So just be aware of that. Let me switch this back. I like to keep things simple. Let's keep them at top of the hour beginnings. After that, I have a combo command in here. This is actually a command that looks for an intro a connector audio piece. These are all in little folders you can put things in. And, well, it looks for an outro, combo connector, and an intro for the next track, and automatically selects intros that might meet introducing this artist, introducing this particular track title, etc., etc. This combo will automatically piece all that together and put it into one file and send it over to DJ. And it just goes on from there. And I have it filling at the very end here to 55 minutes to 57 minutes. And the reason I did that is because I'm going to continue this genre endlessly. We want to get as close, about a song's length away from the top of the hour. And that's between 5 minutes and 3 minutes. And most tracks that I have that I'm doing in this genre are between 3 and 5 minutes. And then this command, when it comes back around to do the next hour, will actually take it, find what that space is, and try as best as possible to get the tracks right up to the top of the hour there. Another thing you can do here is if you have station IDs, let's say for a terrestrial station, I just added a script line here. If I want to do my station ID, I can pick from, I wonder if I have a playlist for station IDs. I bet I do. Yes, I do. Station IDs. So when you, I should probably do it after the time, right? So we fill to the top of the hour, which gets us to, let's say, 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. It tells the time, which will be 10 o'clock, immediately IDs, goes into a promo, and then goes into music after that. So, okay, I'm going to take out the ID from for now because that's not the kind of station I'm doing. I don't need the ID. The promo will take care of that sort of thing because let's just say I'm doing an internet station here. So, okay, I jumped ahead a little bit here so we can actually see this thing schedule. I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to manually schedule. We're coming up on 10 p.m., but you know what? I think I want to fill in with 9 p.m. first, so we get really things running on the right foot here. So let's make sure auto is on in DJ first, and let's take and we'll do 9 p.m. manually, and we're going to come up on 9:40 and let it schedule 10 p.m. on its own. We'll just watch it do it on its own. So here I am going to do 9 p.m. and the result should be that it comes within one track length of 10 p.m. So when I hit this, it goes right to the log and it starts showing me what it's doing. This log is very important.
It's 9:37.
We'll let this get started here.
This is not your father's trance. This is Radiologik trance.
All right, I'll put Duck back on for now. So here is the scheduler log. Now this is very important for figuring out, troubleshooting how your scripts are running. If you only have things scheduling and you only look and see what happened in DJ and you go, well, why did it do that? Well, all your clues are going to be back here in the log. I tried to make this log very, very detailed so that it will tell you pretty much how it went through its decision process. So this one I did manually. It tells me it's manual here. It tells me what time I did it. And goes through a few things. I say, okay, found no DJ tracks found in the queue. So our QN time, that shows when the queue ends, which is about the time we're scheduling, right? And it says the top of the program time was 9 p.m. And so we're over by 37 minutes. And so it calculates that's our relative start time. As it goes through these script lines, though, it says, okay, I found 150 tracks in that rotation, 4 tracks in my promos, 154 tracks in total. Now these first commands, it says, okay, top of the hour is best here, but we're already past this time in subsequent script lines, so it's being smart about this and saying, look, we don't need this many tracks, we're already way past 9 o'clock, And we've already fulfilled these minimums, and we're beyond these maximums already. Once it gets past that point in the script and says, oh, okay, I can fulfill this one. This is a minimum of 42 to 45. I can certainly accomplish that. That's where it starts actually filling in with tracks. In fact, it does it with line 8 because it's the first track after these requirements have already been bypassed. So this one can't be fulfilled because it doesn't fit the minimum maximum. We're already past the maximum. The first line after that starts filling in, and it gets pretty close to within a track's length. It was a little bit later because normally a track would be playing in queue and time would be going by as it's scheduled. So it got fairly close. I would have liked it a little bit closer, but let's see what it can do with what it has there. So you can look at the clock here. We're coming up on 9:40. We're going to watch this thing schedule automatically, and then we'll see the tracks entered into queue. So there it goes. It sees the tracks that are in queue, and it goes ahead and does all the scheduling, and the tracks come in down here. And there they are, ending up in queue. So yeah, we did go a little bit over, and so our time announce is going to be at 10:01. And then we have our promo and our music and our combo here, which is a voiceover track, and so on and so forth. So those are the basic results. So as it's going along, every time it gets to a certain point of number of tracks left in queue here, and we only have 20 minutes to go to the top of the hour, scheduler will run again and fill in with some more tracks. So those are the basics of scheduler.